Space Marines are the poster boys of 40k, but for a long time now it's felt like they've had a major problem holding them back from greatness. But with the amazing summer reveals of the sensational chapter characters, is the Space Marine train finally back on track? First though, a quick word from today's sponsor.
We interrupt today's Warhammer show to bring you some breaking hobby news. Tabletop Tactics has teamed up with U2s to celebrate the launch of their brand new, officially licensed Warhammer collection, and it's looking awesome. Available to pre-order soon are 3 stunning vinyl figures: a mighty chaplain, Titus of the Ultramarines, and a ferociously cute Tyranid warrior. Plus, a horrifically adorable Servo Skull plushie that's practically begging to sit on your hobby desk. U2s are also offering 4 unique pins, each one limited to just 250 pieces. They're individually numbered for ultimate collector clout, and once they're gone, they are gone for good. These collectibles have been crafted with incredible detail and will make a great addition to any hobbyist's painting desk or display cabinet. So if you want to get your hands on them and save 10%, head over to u2s.com/collections/Warhammer using our link and code below. Don't hang about, these will sell out faster than a Tyranid devours biomass.
I am James Jordan, aka The Bard, and today I am joined by Mr. Eric Baker.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm
good?
good.
You're good.
I'm excited because
we have an extra special guest. We have Mr. Sting. Yes, huzzah! Welcome, sir.
Hello.
It's been a hot minute since we did a talk show together.
Indeed.
But I feel you have excellent wisdom and you're a very good orator, so I'm very excited to hear your thoughts.
No pressure.
But yes, we're talking about quite a big thing today, a big issue, if you will. I like saying it like that because it's just fun to make words sound strange. But we love Space Marines here. We all love Space Marines. They're the de facto faction in a way. They're the poster boys. However, I think for a long time now, they've had a bit of an issue at their core. There's a huge range. It's quite a bloated range, and it's a range.
Waiter?
Yeah. It's also a range that, because of a certain problem that we will get to in a minute, I think has been pulling itself in different directions for such a long time that we've kind of forgotten what makes Space Marines cool. However, a couple of weeks ago, as of you viewing this, they revealed some summer reveals. And there was 5 new Space Marine characters that were just cool Space Marines. There was no additional keywords, there was no crossing of Rubicons, it was just, here's 5 cool dudes.
Yeah.
And everyone went...
no mentioning of anything like that.
Everyone was just like, this is really cool. And everyone got very excited, and there's a big Birdman, and it's all happening.
Yeah.
Right?
The new models are just, I think, wicked. I
Absolutely
love that
exquisite.
Grav jet bike.
Oh, it's so cool!
I mean, that for me, I wonder if they're just going to redo the Outriders completely.
I mean, the thing is,
It's not a big, I mean, we'll get to it, but it's
Yes.
not that
that
far
means you get rid of
away.
Barrio Kart as well. You get rid of the 18.
yes! But I think, what these new 5 models have done, for me as a Space Marine fan, has given me a lot of faith with some of the decisions they've been making recently, that Space Marines now are back on track to just be Space Marines and just make cool models that make you go, oh, I really want them. Now, to cycle back a bit, we'll come to where we think the future of these guys is going. But when we address what we think is the biggest problem with Space Marines, and we've discussed this before on Demand or on the podcast, but Primaris happened.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm not a huge fan of that aesthetic compared to the old aesthetic, but I get that it was a necessary glow up of making bigger, more imposing models.
Yeah.
But there was an issue, I think, in the delivery of Primaris.
I was there when they released it.
You were both there. And
The day Horus slew the Emperor.
yeah, but they kind of wrote themselves into a huge corner with the delivery of the fluff of Primaris being not just new Space Marines, it was like bigger, better.
Yeah.
Kind of
Better than
Michael
Chaos
Bay's
Space
them.
Marines, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, I think, for
It's
a lot...
unfortunate because given that they'd actually redone the basic Chaos Space Marine and not even 12 months before, as I recall.
No, scale-wise, they'd done things like the Thousand Suns before,
Yes.
Yeah.
so they were scalable,
Yeah.
closer to the
Yeah.
Primaris.
But didn't they redo the
that
basic
was
Chaos Space
afterwards.
Marines?
Could be someone in the comments is
But
going
that's
to
even
correct me
worse
with an
if they did
exact
it
date,
afterwards.
but I believe they did it afterwards.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
then,
Even
because
worse, isn't it? Yeah.
Makes even less
because
sense.
they'd done the Death Watch Veterans, which were just bigger Space Marines.
Yeah.
And now I've been doing some Old World hobby, and everyone laughs about the scale of horses in Old World. So characters of Empire Knights, and they're on basically ponies. But GW have always upgraded the stuff. I think what was interesting is they clearly made a decision with Primaris. They're like, we're going to make these bigger Space Marines. But they almost doth protest too much by being like, oh, the reason they're so much bigger is they've now got extra organs, and Belisarius Cruel has improved the Emperor's work, and now you have this better Space Marine that's better than everything, and all the rest of it, which has now led to a sort of a range within a range.
Yeah.
You have Space Marines,
Yeah.
but you also have Primaris Space Marines.
Devastator squads, tactical squads, land speeders,
Yes.
attack bikes.
Have all then had to be changed into interceptors, intercessors, invaders. And I get that they wanted to replace these things, but at its core has created a very confused and bloated range where you have to replace stuff because you've said you're upgrading Space Marines.
Yeah.
And I think that's caused kind of a big rules problem for Space Marines to me. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Selection of problems, including a rules problem.
Yes. But now, with these new characters, it very much seems that they're just going back to making Space Marines.
Right.
And that means they can just make cool models.
Yes.
And they don't have to arbitrarily have units that can't fit in certain transports because the seatbelts are different sizes.
Yeah. That's right.
And that, honestly, for me, has been a huge issue with...
How dare that Primaris Marine enter a drop pod or a Rhino? How dare they?
Exactly.
Not
But then
been
also...
allowed long enough to be able to allow to get into one.
But then you can't have your firstball in a repulsor because the seatbelts were too big. Or do you know what I mean? Like, now just...
Booster seats were required.
Yes.
Cole didn't invent booster seats.
It just didn't do it. Like, it's created such an issue whereby that it didn't feel like a complete range. Whereas with the upgrading of Terminators, for example, they're just now Terminators.
Yeah. And Stern Guard.
Yeah.
Stern Guard are just Stern Guard, right?
Just need some Vanguard vets now.
Oh, please, baby. Get those Vanguard vets, because I think then what that allows you to do as a Space Marine player is just play Space Marines.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about all this invalidating and stuff. And we know Firstborn are not long for this world.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame. But we also know that inevitably this is all going to happen. It's all going to be upgraded. But now allowing it to just be Space Marines again means you get these amazing new models. For example, Mr. Saboden Khan on his gravity bike.
Yeah. Absolutely sick model. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible model, right?
Yeah.
And it does put the cat amongst the pigeons, because does that mean we're getting all grav bikes?
Oh, see, I'm gonna my tin foil hat prediction is that we will.
Get it ready. Yeah.
I think that we will get all grav bikes, which I think just makes much more sense from a battlefield role anyway. Like, why have they got all of these sort of anti-grav things on all of their tanks, but then they're still riding around on wheels on the Outriders?
I also think that when you think about the design theory for Space Marine vehicles, it's often been described as being a fist.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something inherently wrong when you put a round, squishy rubber thing on the front of that.
Yeah.
Because it loses that aesthetic. Whereas actually, this is the first one we can demonstrate. That's a fist. Yeah. He is literally riding on. It's as brutal and as blunt as a Space Marine should be.
Yes.
As opposed to, I'm going to bounce into you and maybe I'll do some damage along the way.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just figure out what happens once I'm there. Yeah. And I think that's the thing is, aesthetically, I've never seen a problem with the Primaris stuff, because I have issues with some of, like, Phobos is a bit strange to me. Yeah. Why would you have sneaky Space Marines? But I get if that's what you're into, it allows them to explore different methods of delivering that aesthetic of Space Marine. The biggest issue is more the confusing nature of you have the Land Raider and the Repulsor.
Yeah.
But now I think with this, I guess, like, design philosophy, it seems, it's allowing them to be far more free of, like you say, you can create that iconic fist-looking aesthetic, but whack it in bike format. And I think it's super exciting because it also allows them to do stuff like the new Raven Guard guy.
Yeah.
Because that's not an armor mark I'm aware of.
No.
And he's got his own cool jetpack thing. He's got a hood and, like...
Oh, he's such a good model.
Do you know what I mean? I think they really trapped themselves with Primaris, because it was like, well, everything has to now fit into these armor marks.
Yeah.
Whereas now they can just make Space Marines.
I think it's interesting because obviously we're looking at it through the lens of thinking about what Games Workshop have become as a company. And I think the easy thing to forget is at 7th edition point, when they were on, probably fairly early 7th edition when they were actually doing the design work for these, because it was probably that sort of period, you know. Think about how big the company was.
Yeah.
As in profit-wise, as in player base. It just wasn't the company we know today.
Yes.
And I do think that they were so perhaps risk adverse, where they didn't say outright, Space Marines are getting upgraded.
Yes.
They were so afraid of alienating their number one player base that they almost alienated their number one player base.
Yes.
Like, you know, but it was, you know, you can sort of understand, you know, obviously not knowing anything from the inside, you can sort of understand there were probably some voices of oh, hang on.
Yeah,
like, hang on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you could break the company by doing this. Let's think about it a little bit. As opposed to what actually happened, we know with, you know, rose-tinted glasses and hindsight, to be able to see we brought in loads of new players because of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can kind of understand it a little bit. But the problem for me is more, they didn't realise that quick enough.
Yes. Because, I totally see what you mean, because effectively, burying a range within a range meant you could put the replacement for Firstborn out there without taking away Firstborn.
Yes.
And we now know secretly they've sort of been slowly hemorrhaging Firstborn
Right,
away.
they're facing the Firstborn.
Like
And
eroding like the tides.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it wasn't obvious that they were doing that, but I just think they were so worried about it that it almost gave them a get out of jail free card. They thought.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, the Rubicon Primaris system is broken. We can't do anymore, so therefore we'll just go back to doing this.
Yes.
Like if it had not worked, for example,
Yes.
if they hadn't seen the enormous increase that 8th triggered.
Yeah.
You know,
So true.
They could have had a get out of jail card.
Yes.
They could have gone.
Which
you
has
know,
sort of been off Primaris entirely.
I mean, it could have been
possible.
obviously, you know, they didn't want to do that. They'd obviously invested hugely to not do that.
Yeah.
But you kind of wonder if there was here's our plan B or plan F maybe. Like it was like really, you know, just in case if everything starts going wrong, because they didn't want to do an end times for 40k.
Yes.
They could have gone let's just take that away and carry on as if nothing ever happened.
Today's video is brought to you thanks to the support from our on-demand members. It's due to their amazing support that we're able to produce shows just like this one. As well as supporting the channel, our members get access to at least 2 additional battle reports every week, as well as full codex reviews, painting tutorials, our weekly on-demand exclusive talk show, all of our competitive 40k league games, and so much more. And we add to our library of content every single week. You can join our on-demand community today by downloading our app or heading to the website. And right now we have an introductory offer for new customers, so there's never been a better time to join on demand. Thanks for watching. Let's get back to the show.
It's a really good point, because I think the off-ramp had to be there.
Yeah.
And I think what they've done now is just sort of, which is, why they, with the whole Rubicon thing, is I liked the idea, but I think they almost oversold it of being this so like, it's so dangerous. Like everybody that crosses it have a chance that they'll perish, and then just proceeded to just
dangerous thing that everyone got through.
Everyone's totally fine, and it created this problem. It just sort of felt like you were being penalised for not running Primaris often rules-wise, but then also you were kind of forced to keep your Firstborn stuff because it wasn't being replaced, and it was just messy. And but I totally understand. You think that is probably born out of a kind of a risk-adverse ideology of like, we can't just put out a replacement for Space Marines.
What if this goes wrong?
Yeah.
What if this goes wrong? Because you got to remember that at the time, AOS wasn't that old, if at all.
Yeah.
They'd already seen so much backlash about getting rid of fantasy and bringing AOS in the first place. 40k was what was keeping them alive as a company.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't even have the volume of like IP stuff that was being sold. There wasn't huge numbers of licensing deals to kind of create, you know, prop up revenue wise. So you can imagine there wouldn't. You can perfectly understand. Probably many voices on the board going, you need an off-ramp. You need a backup
There's
plan
got to be a backup,
in case this goes wrong. You need to write something in that gives us a way of getting away.
Yeah, because, and also there's also an argument to say of like, it is, because there's so many, in fantasy, or even Imperial Guard is a good example. When you need a new character, obviously, because time is elapsing in the story, you can just introduce a new character and retire the old one because they're a human and they've perished, probably. Yep. But there is that awkwardness with Space Marines of that if you are going to redo a character, is a conundrum of, like with Dante, did he suddenly just grow? Like, do you know what I mean? There is an element of like a suspension of disbelief of like, do you just go, here's a new character? Yeah. Or do you come up with like here's a new chapter master for the Blood Angels, but then you come across the risk of everyone being like, but I miss my old character.
Yeah.
So what was clever about the Rubicon, it was a way of effectively being like, we've stretched all their bones to make them bigger, that had a fluff balancing thing. But then the argument is, was that ever necessary? Would you people just been cool with new models?
You've never seen a Space Marine out of armor.
No.
So,
that's so true.
So, they could have literally just said, this is new armor. Yeah. It's just a bit bigger.
Yeah, it's got bigger shoes.
Yeah.
That's what I always, my philosophy always was on it. You don't need to write in the rules where suddenly Caller's outdone the Emperor's work. You just have, this is the new armor type. Yeah. Caller's developed a new armor type.
Yeah.
Cool. Caller's cool.
It took him 10,000 years to do it. Bear in mind.
Now he's got, Mark, what would we be up to? Mark 10?
It's about 10.
No, 11 it would have been. I think the Death Watch, that bigger kit, was the Mark 10.
Right, okay. So then this is the Mark 11 armor type.
Because that was bigger. This is why I'm saying the thing, you could have just said it's the bigger armor type. Because 10 Death Watch were bigger than every other Firstborn at the time.
Yeah.
But also,
massive,
you've
but they were
got
bigger.
your cool tactical squad still.
Yes.
With the new, heightened range aesthetic. And, obviously, I agree, I think they were risk averse, and that's why they phased it in the way they did. But I think ultimately, every Space Marine player would have been, if they wanted to keep their Firstborn Marines, they could. But the reality is, when you get cool new kits, I'm a Firstborn player. I play Grey Knights. They're my favourite army. Yeah. My entire range, bar 2 characters, is Firstborn.
And his tiny
and even those 2 characters are still technically Firstborn, but they're Primaris scaled, Baldus and Crow. I want a new range.
Yeah.
I've got an entire army, a very large army painted, and I want a new range.
Yes.
And if you're a Grey Knights player and you don't want a new range, you want to carry on using what you've got, you can, even if they release it. Yeah. That's the thing. You can use your existing range. But I do want the newer high scale. I don't want them to be Primaris. I don't care about that. I just want the models to be cooler.
I think you can see that they have learned from this if you think about orcs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to go back to my second edition box set. As the way of making this make sense in my head. Space Marines and orcs. They were, roughly. The Space Marine was a little bit bigger than the orc, but not a lot. But they were, and had armor, and that was the scale difference. And when it came time to do the new boys, they were just new boys.
Yes.
And they were bigger.
Yeah.
So again, if you think like the 2 examples, they did one where they were like so risk averse, we need a way of getting away from this if we need to.
Yeah.
And then they'd seen the success, they'd seen all the other things that happened, and then they went, just put them out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can see it with Eldar.
Yeah.
The Eldar, even, again, the newer Orc boys. They've done it again with the Orc boys and put new kits. And I think it is a really interesting thought thinking about, because it is almost Space Marines are like the golden egg.
Yeah.
It's like, don't tamper with the golden egg. You can upset everyone else, but don't mess up with the golden egg. Yeah. And ironically, in being so adverse to just kind of committing to it, they weirdly put them on the struggle bus.
Yeah.
Because it also meant, because I love the new stature. I actually quite like the Primaris helmet with the new grille. I love the old grille. I think it's so iconic. But there is something about them that I really like. Like Phobos aren't for me, but that's just me. That's my subjective view. Yeah. But objectively, what did happen is that because they started going with they're all kind of more like a legion. There's intercessors and hellblasters and stuff. The uniqueness of all the different chapters kind of went away.
Yeah.
Because you had the supplement ones, your Blood Angels, Dark Angels, that had unique models. Yeah. But all the others, your Imperial Fists, your White Scars, your Iron Hands, all the models that they've now released, these new characters, for a long time now, probably since 8, kind of completely lost their identity.
Yeah.
Which, weirdly, because they were trying to make it so safe, took away all the excitement, I think, for a lot of those players.
Yeah, well, I think actually, you see with things like the popularity of 30k, people like to, and we see it when we release videos here, people like to see their army represented, not like a generically coloured army which uses their rules. They want to see the Imperial Fist. They want to see, the Blood Angels. They want to see those unique chapters. And actually, I think it's really, really exciting if they're going to now flesh out these rules and actually bring the chapters back.
Yes.
You know, even if they're just in a supplement form.
Yeah.
It's just really cool because it adds a lot of variety to the game as well. I think.
It really does.
I think almost, I don't want to sound like an apologist because I sort of do understand the whole intercessor thing though, if we just use those as an example, because I think this came back to that idea of how do we get more people into the game?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's like, if you're thinking about the 12-year-old playing the game for the first time, it's a lot easier to understand if these 10 models have the same gun.
Yes. Yeah.
And I roll 10 dice, 12, 20 dice, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, so again, if we think about that, and you know, there's loads of people obviously say about 10th as being a similar kind of, how do you go even more to make it easier for the person getting in?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first challenges back to them from a design perspective.
Yeah.
Make it simple so that people can play
People
it.
can get involved. Yeah.
Yeah, and I weirdly, as probably the only TT apologist for the Phobos armor, because I quite like it, I think it gives them a way in to do more uniqueness.
Yes.
Because that's where the Raven Guard should live, in my mind.
I agree.
Yes.
Well,
you know,
I actually happen to
or
agree
Alpha
with you.
Legion, as I would do.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I actually do like the Phobos armor.
Yeah.
But purely because, you know, the Space Marine Scout has been a thing.
Yes.
You know, is a thing. And for me, the Phobos armor was quite clearly supposed to be the Scout replacement.
New Scouts.
But
Yeah.
it existed alongside Scouts, and so
Didn't really do it.
it's absolutely hilarious because if you cast your mind back to when Primaris were released, like there's often a concept where, oh well, GW give the most powerful rules to the new models, and sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But Primaris, for those of you who've
yeah.
been playing a long time, when they were first released, the rules were awful.
Terrible.
They were rubbish.
Yeah, I remember
in
this.
the game, they were just rubbish.
You didn't
People
see
would
them.
use the Primaris models
Yeah.
and basically make them tactical squads,
Yes.
or you know, they would just basically make them upscaled firstborn Marines.
Yeah.
Like they got the rules so bad
Yeah.
that no one was using them.
They did like 3 or 4 passes in
yeah,
a
yeah.
really
Yeah.
quick, you know, time frame to
Terrible.
change them and try and make them doable. They were like tuppence halfpenny by the time.
Yeah, intercessors were like, who cares about these bolters? We need the special weapons.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was just really, really hilarious.
madness, yeah.
But you know, eventually, obviously, that's turned around. But I think, you know, the Phobos replacing the Scout type Marine makes sense to me. I think the armor does look cool. You know, Reavers look really cool. Their concept was really cool, but again, they're like, where do they fit in
nice,
versus
yeah.
Scouts and,
Yeah.
you know, like assault intercessors. So, you know, hopefully as things evolve, Phobos will more come into its own. We're very excited about doing a Raven Guard.
Oh, we are very excited about doing a Raven Guard list. Well, I think one of the things that makes me very excited is that now they have just committed to Space Marines as a thing.
Yeah.
For me, Phobos now make more sense because you now have with the Primaris, and maybe this was always the plan, and I'll give them credit if this was always the plan, but now I feel like we've got one of everything.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need more standardized Space Marines.
No.
What we do need is that injection of flavor back. And that's why I find this whole new reveal of all these characters so exciting, because they're all super unique Space Marines. It's not like they are just captain with sword.
Yeah.
They've all got unique weapons. They've all got unique armor. They are just part of the Space Marines and are all of those legions. You see it with, I think, the success of the Dreadclaw kill team for Night Lords.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time we were discussing this sort of internally of like, where's that for Space Marines?
Yeah.
Like, could you do like a White Scars team that are all like assault intercessors, but give them all the cool helmets and stuff? And now we're seeing these cool characters come in. That's like, let's give the White Scars character not only a grav bike that has a Gatling cannon on the front, but give him a like a proper Telwar. Like, give him like the curved like power lance.
Yeah.
The Iron Hands Terminator guy has got a big mace thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a thunder hammer. It's just a big club.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
that. And again, the Raven Guard guy.
Yeah.
Let's make a cool, spooky Raven Guard chapter master.
Yeah.
I think tacking
yeah.
onto that
Yeah,
though is
man.
also the Death Watch kill team.
Yes. Great point. Yeah.
Because that's the one that becomes really exciting.
Yes.
Because it's mixed armor marks
Yes.
within a kill team
Yeah.
with huge different variety of weapons
Yes.
and specific sculpts that look like specific chapters.
Yes.
Like all within that group, it's all there.
Yes.
And that for me is really exciting because that also means they've created all the CADs for all of those.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah.
you think about like you've got Flesh Terror model,
Yeah.
very specific Flesh Terror model, for example. But that means there's a specific head that works doing there, and they've got whatever it might be. But you've already got that stuff being worked on, which again makes me wonder. How far did they go down that route?
Yeah.
How far have they all got planned
Yeah.
to do similar things?
I mean, look, if they end up like, it's my hope. Like, it's cool to see the Space Marine stuff, but it's actually my hope that we see the Chaos equivalents.
Yes.
As you said, we've got the Night Lord squad now. If Night Lords could have their own supplement.
Oh, totally.
Now that they've actually got models to potentially make that army and feel unique, I think that would be epic. Word bearers, come on. Guys. Alpha Legion, come on.
I think it is genuinely a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because I think what they learned from the Primaris mistake, as it were, I'm sorry, but there we go, I've said it, was that in flatlining 40k, that isn't necessarily what people want. Because we've seen it now even with the Guard. The new Guard models are Kriegsmen. They're not making more and more, because Primaris for a long time, everyone's joked about it. How many Primaris lieutenants have they released? Like, every single Space Marine release for the last, even 6 years has just been like, here's another, the Desolators, here's another Space Marine unit with a different gun. And everyone's kind of like, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And imagine if the Guard release, the Rogal Dawn was really cool, but imagine if they'd done here's another type of Lehman Russ, here's another type of sort of Chimera. Whereas actually they just went, Krieg, here's Death Riders, here's Krieg heavy weapons, because you can buy those kits, and there's enough variety there to make a really unique army that feels like yours.
Yes.
So why not come up with a Word Bearers kill team?
I've got another feeling.
Oh, please.
This is quite interesting.
Do you need a foil hat? Do you want to put it on?
Right. Okay. If they do now go down. I mean, I saw someone comment 11th edition. This will probably be the edition of the bike.
Oh yeah, man!
And this was in reference to the White Scars.
So cool.
So let's just say for a moment, let's entertain the theory that they actually redo the Outriders, because in theory, the Outriders were that push fit.
Kit they haven't changed
from,
since.
9th edition box set.
Yeah, it was the Domitus. Yeah.
So in theory, they could sort of just phase them out.
Yeah.
They could. I'm not saying that they should. I know there are lots of people that love the bikes and have bike armies, but I'm just saying, in theory, okay, they could phase them out and replace them with a grav equivalent, but still allow you to use those Outriders, the wheeled ones, so that you're not losing out on your models.
Same base size, roughly the same. Because it's basically the same model, but with grav bits.
Exactly, because even the grav tanks of the Primaris now don't actually fly. They don't act like they fly. So you could, the fact yours would be on wheels would still be fine. Your models are usable. But if they do that and they make them all of these grav bikes, then all of a sudden the only thing in the new design of Space Marines which isn't adhering to that aesthetic are Razorbacks, which I can't remember the last time I've seen someone deploy a Razorback. Because the Impulsor's sort of overtaken that role. But are the Rhino and the Land Raider.
Yes.
Now, if they've re-released the Rhino and the Land Raider, but with the plates.
Interesting.
I mean, arguably the Land Raider is kind of treading on the toes of the Repulsor.
Yes, in terms of its function,
But so I don't quite know what but maybe the Repulsor acts more as a lighter gun. I don't know. Ooh. I don't know how they do that, but.
I agree.
Big, heavy.
Because this was always the problem, right? This was why I think it was such a problem with Space Marines. Is there was always then now this exists.
Yes.
What is it killing off?
Yes.
And that was always the issue. But the fact that they are happy to be in the White Scars Combat Patrol, there's 3 dudes on a bike and 1 dude on a grav bike, makes me think of you could just have Outriders. Outriders are a scouting unit.
Yes.
They're a lightly armoured bike that just zooms around and is a scout unit.
Yeah.
But then you have the Primaris Lancers
that
are all on grav bikes. Yeah. They've got the resplendent armour. They've got heavier weapons. They've got heavier guns that are these are the cavalry.
Yeah.
The Outriders scout around,
Imagine Ravenwing on those grav bikes.
Hell yeah, but that's what I mean.
Knights.
Do you know what I mean? The Black Knights on grav bikes with the capes and stuff, Samael at the helm, those are your combat cavalry.
Oh, that would be nice though, wouldn't it?
But that's what I mean. You could have your Pistoliers kind of old world style that scout around on their little motorbikes because they're for dealing with, maybe they're more, efficient with petrol. Come up with something.
I mean, there used to be scout bikes.
Yeah.
So you could argue that the the Outrider kit that, you get a new Scout on it.
Yeah.
Replace that as being, you're not there yet, mate. So you aren't allowed to
You have wheels.
We'll give you wheels, but then because then you get a separation without being quite the same thing. The interesting thing about the Razorback, Impulsor, Land Raider, blah blah blah. For me, I sort of feel like there's a space where the Land Raider and the Rhino just stay as they are, a la Terminators.
Yeah.
Yes.
Iconic, they are.
Yeah.
The Razorback, for me, I'm looking over and in the corner of my eye, I can see an Impulsor with the missile pod. That feels like the Impulsor could just move away from being a dedicated transport and more the hybrid that the Razorback was.
Yeah.
So you just do an upgrade kit, i.e. they put a sprue in the box.
Has like a gunner on the back.
That it's got a gunner or it's got some kind of other role that keeps it separate, that says we're no longer trying to replace the Rhino because the Rhino's there.
Yeah.
I love the Rhino, by the way.
I
I'm not
yeah,
suggesting
exactly.
They should do this, but I'm saying I have a feeling that they might.
But it just allows you to have enough of a separation and to say Rhinos are cheap, right? They're made for the sisters, they're made for the Sisters of Silence have them as well.
Yeah.
They're made for everything.
But
right?
does that not deliberately differentiate? Because Space Marines are supposed to have the best gear.
Yeah, so that's why you would choose to have the Impulsor Razorback.
Right.
Or you could also...
You have the new drop pod.
Yeah.
Because it suddenly gives you more thing of going, well, you're gonna have the best gear, and Rhino's great, but they're maybe not around
the
as
whole
much.
fluff at the moment between, because I've always had the issue of like you have Gravis and Terminators.
Yeah.
Clearly, at one point, Gravis were going to replace Terminators.
Yeah. Just like the Repulsor was supposed to replace the Land Raider.
And everyone, if you touch our Terminators, we will riot.
Yeah.
And then GW was like, there's new Terminators.
Yes.
But the fluff is that Terminators are only for the first company because tactical dreadnought armor is super rare, really hard to maintain. In theory, has a shard of the Emperor's shield in the Crux Terminatus.
Right.
The fluff of the Crux Terminatus is like a big deal.
Yeah.
So you could have the whole thing of like, they could do a new Land Raider that's like, this thing has a 4-up invuln because it's a relic.
Yeah.
Like the Land Raider is bestowed with like reverie. It's got these special things on it. It's like, it is a relic of the chapter. That thing is invincible to take out.
Yeah.
Your repulsors are your battle tanks. They need a more disposable thing.
Yeah.
But if you're delivering your first company into the battlefield, it's like, maybe you could have it like, you can take a Land Raider, but you've got to spend CP on it being like a relic transportation.
Yeah.
I mean, they've finally got to a point where Land Raiders are actually on the battlefield again. I don't really
exactly,
want them to go away again.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. I think the interesting thing for me with the older chassis, the Rhino and therefore the Razorback and the Predator, is that you do have the option of separating between CSM and Space Marines a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you don't see Predators very much in Space Marines. They're every single Chaos.
Yes.
And that makes sense because they're around. They're still around. They've been hammering them to keep them going. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you could argue that that's why that goes. And Rhinos are still cool in Space Marines, but maybe it's more the fact that they just go, okay, so that 30k Rhino, that's the one for everybody else, and the old, the modern Rhino, that's the one for Space Marines.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
And you do one rule difference or something, so that could give you a separation you still want.
Yeah.
But
still, you get enough of a separation.
But I think that's the cool thing, isn't it? Now they've kind of, I really feel like these new characters for me are the last suggestion in a long while of things that have been happening with your Stern Guards and your Terminators, that like they are happy for Space Marines now to just be a cohesive force.
Yeah.
If you're a Space Marine, you can get in a Space Marine transport. You're a Space Marine. And now
make that seatbelt work.
Clip. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like alarms going off. It's like, brother, hang on. But like they've finally decided that like you can have a Land Raider and repulse it. And aesthetically, they've worked very hard now, I think, to make it all these new combat patrols.
Yeah.
Some of them are, you've got like, the Imperial Fist one is like heavy intercessors, Terminators, Lysander, and normal intercessors. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
You've got like an ATV and guys and Vulcan Heathden. Like, they're really making it all feel like, you look at that and you're like, that's a Space Marine army.
Yeah.
And now that means, and I'm super excited, especially because of Birdman. I need to talk more about Birdman because he's the first Space Marine in, I think, a very long time, beyond like Dante, that looks totally different to every other Space Marine.
Yeah.
It's not like he's got, that's just a jump pack guy. Even Shrike was like, he's wearing like a Phobos pattern armor. Like,
he's sort of like a hybrid.
Well, this new guy's just like, He's on a rock. He has weird little bird servitors.
It's
He's
about the best tactical rock you've ever seen.
It-
Logan might have questions about that, but otherwise,
But yeah, right. Like between like what they've done with Space Wolves and what this new model that's coming out for Raven Guard, it feels like now we're going to be in this new golden era of Space Marines where they're just making cool stuff again.
Yeah.
They never used to worry about it. Space Marines just got like, here's Centurions. So that's kind of cool. So yeah. There you go. Like, here's a cool character. Here's a cool new thing. Here's Deathwing Knights. Here's Sanguinary Guard. Here's all this cool stuff that you could just lose yourself into. And now they're kind of bringing that back around by just going like, we're bringing back the chapters. We're bringing back the flavor. And also Space Marines are Space Marines. They're a cohesive fighting force that can beg, steal, and borrow from all the elements of it. And that's really cool.
Yes.
Because that means hopefully it will just the rules will be tighter. You'll just get more exciting stuff. And maybe,
Variety, which is great.
Finally, the problem's out.
Yes.
And the other thing, from a pure design perspective, it gives them the space to do things like the Guard. The new Guard models being significantly bigger. I don't think you'd have got, for one reason or another, Votan, I don't think would have existed if they're basically the same size as the Firstborn.
Yeah, that's a really good
so
point.
it'd be really hard to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, my beloved Custodes are maybe a bit too small these days, but like that's a future problem for them to deal with.
Yeah.
But it gives them the design space to do this separation whilst maintaining the cash cow, the most important thing that keeps the entire company functioning, which is the Space Marine.
I mean, got you thinking as well. If you see that White Scar on the graph bike, like, imagine you like Dawn Eagles and stuff.
Oh my God.
Like
so good.
It really feels like these 5 models have got me more excited in design for 40k than I have in a long time.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot. You sort of every so often you see it on like social media and stuff. You see like certain designers saying, "I was part of the design team for this."
Yes.
And you sort of feel that sometimes they've been designed by committee.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
These do feel like they've gone, you, most important designer, go and design this. Could be completely wrong. I have no understanding if that's how it worked, but it feels like it's one person's vision of build the coolest thing you can for your favourite chapter.
Yeah, they've gone like, what one would you like to pick for one of the 5? And they just like, you focus on that and do what you want. You can put it on grav, you can put it on wheels, you can give a guy bird wings if you want. Do what you want and see what comes out. And it's just super exciting, and I feel more energized about Space Marines than I have in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're kind of back.
Yeah.
Space Marines are back to being Space Marines, rather than weird sort of like, we are the neutral bar for everyone else's rules. We are perfectly vanilla. Whereas now it feels like, oh, this is super exciting.
Yeah.
So
It's full of flavour again.
Yeah, and as the person sitting here without a Space Marine army, it actually makes you think, maybe it might be time.
I mean, Saboon Khan is doing terrible things to my wallet. What can I say? But yeah, it's just super exciting. And we want to hear from you guys in the comments. Which of the 5 is your favourite? Because I think everyone is sort of like picks the Legion that they like the most, but also there's some models that you're just like, so cool. I haven't even mentioned Lysander.
Yes.
They did a wonderful job on him.
Lysander looks great.
He's
Awesome,
just badass Terminator man.
He'd be added to our Imperial Fist.
He's just that bigger version. He is just the perfect update.
Also, quickly on the Iron Hands guy, I love the fact that he's like, I think they said he's like, the only thing left that's flesh is his one eye.
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
And the whole armor, everything, like, and he's missing his arms. They're all just like robot arms.
And he's got the cervix skull that's projecting the thing. Which is
it's so cool.
Very,
He's got all these tubes in his back, but he's in Terminator. It's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Like, there's so many things now I think they can really nail with these new Space Marines. It just makes me excited to see what else, because surely more's on its way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time left in this edition, in theory, right? So what else are we going to see? And please put your predictions in the comments. Let us know what your favourite of the 5 Space Marines are. And if you also feel like it feels like Space Marines are back on the menu in a big way. Until next time, I've been James Jordan, aka The Bard. I've been joined by Mr. Stig, and we've been joined by Mr. Lawrence Baker.
Farewell.
We've been Tabletop Tactics, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.